Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity and Love. Incredible guests, incredible insights, incredible and transformative journeys, and they've decided to help others, really. We've had all sorts of guests, all sorts of walks of life, all sorts of countries they've been from. It might be up to 25 countries now. We've had a White House physician to the US president, the youngest Delta Force operator ever admitted, naturopath on the side. New York Times bestsellers, an Oprah Super Soul Sunday guest, Oprah Super Soul Sunday, Super Soul 100 teacher, healers of all types, just absolutely phenomenal folks coming to this little show. And I am so thankful for that. We have started to book episodes all the way to, I think, almost September of 2025. We're almost a year out. With that, I'd like to introduce our guest from Michigan. She's a complete and total talent. She's got the best sense of humor. She's a lot of fun. I'm not kidding. You want to hang out with her, plus get a reading as well while you're at it. JENNIFER Passavant. I'll say Passavant in French, but she's completely talented, intuitive healer, channeler, energy this, energy that, and I can't wait to see where she's going in the future with all this. Look for even more books. We'll hear about that later. JENNIFER, welcome to Angels, Positivity and Love. You and I have just been playing beforehand, and I am so thankful that you're on this show. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, it's been a blast so far. Some of it I wish I admit we were taping because I think people would get a real kick out of half the stuff we talked about.
Aw. We'll have to reenact some of it later.
Yep.
So, okay, when did you know and what did you know? And was it when you were a little girl? Did you freak the family out? Did you run for the hills? And then it was only in your 20s you tapped your talents just a couple of years ago?
Ish, actually. So yeah, when I was a kid, I would hear my angels' voices, but as a kid, I didn't know that. I just kept being awakened, hearing my name being called, and I would see things. Sometimes they were good things, sometimes they were less than good things. Um, and nobody else was talking about it, and so I assumed it was normal, but I didn't go around talking about it because I didn't think nobody else was experiencing it, if that makes any sense. I also had my first interdimensional. I thought it was physical, but as I've become an adult, I learned that it was not physical. It was astral visitation with what most people refer to as aliens. Um, though I've come to understand that that's not entirely accurate, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, it's been kind of weird, but then like everything went kind of nuts starting in like 2010 to 2013, where I started having these weird inexplicable experiences that all started when I was getting an energy healing, and I heard this voice in my left ear that said just relax, and then they started making me breathe a certain way, and I started feeling everything buzz and tingle, and I'm like, I don't know who this is. I don't know where this is going. I don't know what they're doing. And so I kind of pulled myself out. And so they kept guiding me to see other energy healers, and I kept being put in that same state. And this was what, 2010, 2011-ish. And that kind of over a few years took place until finally I saw a gal and I was like, look, somebody's clearly trying to get me somewhere. Can you just run energy and let this thing happen? And she's like, I understand you're supposed to be doing this yourself. And I was like, yes, once you get me to this point, I will be able to do it myself. Can you just do that? She's like, yeah. So my breathing changed, and all of a sudden I saw this white light go up like this in my mind's eye. And then it was done. And all of my muscles contracted, and I got freezing cold, which is, of course, not only the nervous system coming down, but it's also like your vibrational frequency going back to planet Earth. And from then on, every time I would meditate, I would go into that breathing state, and I would involuntarily move. And then it was in the fall of 2013 that I learned that what I was experiencing was me channeling. And I'm like, nah, not me. Nope, no, not me. And everybody was like, yep, he's an angel, he's like an archangel. And I'm like, oh, okay. And sure enough, it was Christmas Eve, I was sitting downstairs, and I'm like, the power was out, we had nothing to do. So I'm like, I'll meditate. And he started involuntarily like rolling my neck. And then it was New Year's Eve. And I was sitting on a bed meditating, as you do on New Year's Eve. and he started speaking through me. And I did, and he was trying to say, I didn't realize at the time, but he was trying to say the name that he gave himself, and he was going like, yeah, 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 what, and he was practicing saying like vowels, and we practiced consonants, and because he'd never spoken through a human before. And that was when he first really made his presence known. And from then on, it was like trying to practice having him communicate through me. And then after a while in 2014, he started moving his hands really strangely, or well, his hands, my hands. So he's connected to the back of my heart, and he would come in through my body and move me. And I'm like, what are we doing? And he said, pay attention to what we're doing, because you're going to do this on other people. And they guided me to like learn and understand all these different healing modalities, so that I could recognize what they were doing through me from an energetic perspective. Like when we move your hand like this, we're doing this with the energy, da 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 da. So I'm trying to make this as Reader's Digest as I can. But it was like 2010 through 2013, 2014 that was like the weirdest period of my life. And then it's just kind of stayed weird from then on. Sorry, that was a lot. I'll
Oh
shut up.
no, that was awesome. And that's I mean, I know how do I do this? John of God in Brazil, pre-prison John of God, the cool John of God, the old days, or some other healer out there who's doing moves.
That creepy John of God who is a pedophile. Right. Not
Okay, yeah,
that.
the one who's in prison, we'll skip him. Forget Brazil. Uh,
Yeah.
but somewhere, somehow, there's a healer out there that's doing interdimensional or galactic tie-in, just moving their hands a certain way that's connected to more than just lots of love plus everything else
Mhm,
all at once. And sounds like
mhm.
that's definitely what you're doing. So,
Yeah, and Kuan Yin, I didn't know was also a part of the game. I thought it was Ian one night. He had me doing what looked like a Balinese dance, and really it was like Tai Qigong sort of thing. Um, but then I later learned that it was Kuan Yin. I was working on my mom, and my hands started going into these mudras, and I'm like, this is not you. Because usually when Ian works through me, he'll do like the sign of benediction, and which is a very masculine like sign, right? And she's, almost, my hands are doing this, and the energy felt like warm water. It didn't feel like my finger was in a light socket like when I work with Ian. And I was like, who is this? And I hear in my head Kuan Yin, and my jaw went. And so from then on, it was like, oh my God, that was you. And I was doing, ah, blah, blah, blah. So that's when I realized that she's like the female energy aspect, and he's the masculine energy aspect. So his energy is very electric, and her energy is very soft and flowy. And they work in tandem with each other. So one is usually more forward than the other, but they work with each other on the person's energetic field and their chakras.
and talk to us a little bit about your practice these days. Is it group? Is it one-on-one? Is it no problem remotely, Zoom? Describe just a little bit about when people come to you.
Yeah, so I used to do in person until my mom passed away, and then I was like, I'm not doing that. And so I thought, well, for fun, I'll try remote. I've never done a remote. We'll just see what happens. And as it turns out, it was way more powerful. And Ian gave a personalized message that he spoke through me. And I was like, holy crap balls, we're doing this like forever now. This is just how we're going to do it. So I do all of my work remotely, and the person's usually on the phone with me. I will say I'm probably going to go back to having them not be on the phone, because they tend to speak more through me and give me more information when I'm not on the phone. Um, but yeah, it's all remote, so which I like, because then not only can we be in our pajamas with no makeup on, which is great, but we're also in our comfort zones, and I can work with a greater number of people from wherever they are. As long as we can get our time zones and our languages to align, we're golden. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Talk to us about compassion, kindness, love. Is love the fabric of the universe?
Yes. Sorry, that's a
Are
given.
you sure? Are you sure? You sounded unsure there for a second.
No, that was my sound of, yeah, duh. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was my yes. Of course.
Okay, what did you have to let go of in the last like 2 years, 5 years, 10 years to just give yourself more space to breathe and do all
You don't know what you just asked me.
that?
My parents, they
Mm.
both passed away, and so I had to let go of them. I've had to let go of a fear of failure. I've had to let go of a fear of not meeting other people's expectations. That's been hard. That's been a real challenging one. Letting go of, how shall I say this? Letting go of my own fear of not being good enough. And that one is still a work in progress. I'm not going to lie. That one is still a work in progress.
Okay. And now back onto the compliment side, the flip side of the pancake. How often are you getting compliments about how amazing a healer you are, how great a communicator you are, how not shy you are, how direct you are, and how beneficial that is for everybody to see somebody this in their own authenticity?
So I'm not gonna lie, this bit makes me uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie. I don't, because I don't like. Um, I am not a self horn tutor. So I'll just say this instead of saying how many times I get it. I'll say that when I get it, it is incredibly humbling. Um, it really reinforces the humility I have of being able to be in service to others. Um, and it reminds me that that it's why I do what I do, because my whole purpose is to be in service and to help others. And so when I get that, oh my God, thank you so much, I couldn't have seen this without you, or I really appreciate everything you've done, or oh my gosh, that had such an impact on me, I'm like, really? Oh, whew, thank God. Because I don't know what's going to be helpful and what's not, but B, you never know your own level of impact on other people until they tell you. And so my favorite is when people will leave me reviews and testimonials, and it's like, I gotta sit and maybe cry a little because of how humbling it is. So that's how I'll respond to that. That for me is a comfortable way to respond to that question.
What's the best way for a person to sort of just check you out? Do you still ever do those 15-minute introduction calls, or is it to go to the website? Okay, so they can go
Both.
to the
I do both.
website.
Yeah,
Can
website, and then they
say
can
your
schedule
website
it.
name out loud for us.com?
Oh,
It's
it's
your name.
easy. JenniferPassavant.com.
Awesome. Okay, we've reached that point in the show early. I'm going to blow you some sage, but you don't have
Okay.
to settle for sage. There's nothing wrong with sage, by the way. And by the way, if you're watching in Germany, Tokyo, New Zealand, and it's 2030, the year 2030, there's no time and space. She was just telling that to me before the show, and it's true.
Accurate.
So
Accurate.
catch some sage. Why not get something else? Triple tier tiramisu, no calories.
I'll get whatever they want to give me. How about that?
Yeah, sage, flowers, ocean, if you want a triple decker. But if you want to get something else, cotton candy. Okay, here's the sage. And you get to watch her in action as she's catching it. And she's got humor too. We'll see how much humor comes in on top of it as an intangible, since we're going for 3 more literal. There's sage, and the more people breathe through their mouth, the more they're turning up the volume, they can catch it. There's flowers, catch, honeysuckle, wisteria, lavender, protea if you're from South Africa. Everyone should be asking for a ball light at this point too. We want an angel to do a flyby. We've had it for South Africans on the show, 2 different ones.
I want people to also pay attention to their solar plexus, because they are putting my hands underneath, like cradling my solar plexus, as if whatever you're sending is going to help other people's solar plexuses, solar plexi, whatever the plural is of that.
Solar Lexus.
There we go.
Passenger car. Okay. And it's happening. I relit the sage, even though it never went out. I just started to snuff, and I'm like, oh, we're not done.
Whew.
So there's sage. There might be hibiscus or something else. People know their flowers. And then what else will you allow for? An incense from India, an incense from ancient Egypt, an incense from wherever. Something you haven't had in a while. Catch a wind in the room, so you got to go check the thermostat. And the windows aren't open. You're like, wait, what the? And I'll even blow through the microphone. Let me find my microphone. It's above.
I want someone to put in the comments if they got what is that spring flower? Come on, hyacinth. I want someone to let me know if they just got hyacinth.
And I didn't do it. Blame angels, blame Canada.
No, I asked to get whatever they wanted to send.
Okay. Tell us something else.
Random. Okay. No pressure though.
No.
Um, so
What's
I
this
guess
all yeah, what's this all about for all of us on our unique life path? What do we need to keep in mind to keep it simple, to keep it real, and to keep it real
that's not
simple?
a hard question to answer at all. Okay, I will say from what I've seen when I work with clients, and I do want to say, you know, I do while I do energy healing, I'm also an intuitive spiritual life coach and a health and wellness coach. So mind, body, spirit. So just kind of that's kind of where I come from, is that kind of holistic perspective. But the kind of the meat and taters is that you really have to become hyper self-aware, very self-aware from a neutral objective perspective, and I'm kind of channeling this as we're going, of what your core wounds are, what your childhood wounding is, and how that, how should I say this? How that controls 95% of your behavior subconsciously, and make that subconscious conscious, so that you can see why you think the way you think, why you believe the way you believe, why you perceive the way you perceive, why you respond the way you respond, why you feel the way you feel. Because when you can go, ooh, when my boss says that to me, that pisses me off to no end. Great. Where did that come from? Who does your boss represent for you? Was your dad really overbearing? Was your dad really, you know, negative? Does your boss remind you of your dad? Your boss can be a male or a female. It's about their energy and their attitude. So, okay, I'm responding this way because it's coming from that core wound. So this isn't about them. This is about me learning to no longer respond from my wounded aspect, but rather learning to respond from my healed aspect. And that takes time and practice. But one of the things that I help people with is learning how to better embody their healed aspect versus their wounded child aspect. And it's not a one-off thing. You can't just, and this is true even for me, like I am a work in progress, as we all are. Healing is not about making something go away. It's making it so that you are no longer being controlled by your wounded aspect. You are making conscious choices as to how you perceive, how you respond, et cetera, et cetera. So the meat and taters really is self-awareness. Sorry, that was a lot, but there you go.
No, this is like this is like textbook answers. When you talk, it's so crystal clear. I love it. I was gonna say laser like, but crystal
I just got buzzes and tingling around my head.
yeah, crystal clear is a really good way to say it. Okay, let's we're changing courses here. We're going to ask the kind of classic question about serendipity, synchronicity. Have you ever walked down a street, a stranger said just what you needed to hear, you turn, they're gone. It's the classic car wreck thing, you know, you're pulled out of a burning vehicle, the trooper gets there and says, "Ma'am, I'm the first one that was here. What are you talking about, the old man who pulled you out?" Tell us one of those stories that you're like, to this day you're still shaking your head.
So I will say I don't have a synchronicity story in physical, but I can tell you a bazillion stories of weird experiences at, right here in this house, and even some of them are in this room. This is where I grew up. Actually, I'm in my old childhood bedroom. It's now my office. Uh, okay, so I will tell you the story of. I God, I have a million. I'm trying to pick one. So I think I'll tell you the story of the. So we were talking before we came on about the Tuatha, right? So I was sitting downstairs with a close friend of mine, and we were watching Weirdo TV, what I refer to as Weirdo TV, and we were watching a show about UFOs and this UFO landing in England. And a lot of people who are familiar with UFOs should be familiar with the story. And the guy touched the UFO and got downloaded with all these ones and zeros, and the ones and zeros ended up being latitude and longitude for somewhere off the coast of Ireland. And that used to be a location of what was an island referred to as High Brazil. Um, and people believed it to be Avalon, and this island would kind of come and go, and their actual like physical reports of this. Okay, so all that to be said, she leaves. I come upstairs, and in my head, I kept hearing Dana, 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 Dana. I'm like, what the what? What is the what? And then I said, then I got cocky. I was like, first of all, it's not Dana, it's Danu. Like, I know, right? I know more than them. Okay, so I'm like correcting them because I'm all that into baggage. So I was like, first of all, it's Danu. And I was like, what about it? Like, yeah, okay, we were watching this Irish thing, like, okay. And then and then I go to bed, and I hadn't even fallen asleep yet. It was probably about 11 o'clock. It was a full moon. And I got this feeling of whenever I see something weird, it's always this feeling of open your eyes, there's something to see. So I open my eyes and I see this face pop up next to my bed. And I went, and I sat up and he rose up. I'm getting chills. Just, I love this story. I'm getting chills of thinking about it. And this beautiful being that was glowing in the color of like moonlight, right? Like gray blue light. And it was just this outline of his outfit. He was wearing this silver crown with like the fleur-de-lis that had what looked like diamonds or quartz crystals encrusted in it. And this bit was still in moonlight color, but you know the old like royal capes that you'd see that were like that yeehaw royal purple with the white trim and the black spots on it. He was wearing one of those, and had this huge smile on his face and these big eyes. I'd never seen eyes and a smile this big on anyone before. And he's looking at me, and then he floats up to where, so I have blackout curtains, but there was this V where the curtain met the curtain rods, where there you could see moonlight peeking through. And he stuck his face in the moonlight and looked down at me and smiled, and then stuck his face in the moonlight again, and then disappeared, but I could still feel him. And I'm like, what the was that? And so I I got up and I checked a book that has I'm gonna name drop a little bit here. So Doreen Virtue, before she jumped thoroughly and heavily back into the dogmatic Christian box, she wrote this book that to this day is like a textbook for me. Like it's a reference book for me. But it was what is it? God ascended archangels and ascended masters, because it's right down there. And so I got this feeling of you need to look up Danu, you need to look up Dana. And so I looked her up, and how Doreen saw her, sorry, I just got the mega chills, was with a silver crown and that cape. And I just about lost my spit, pardon my French, because he was like playing her representative. So he is like my soul kin. I was a Tua de Danann. Again, it's like, if you were to read it, it would look like it was Tuatha Day,
Oh, okay.
middle word, Danan, D-A, oh God, D-A-N-N-A-N, I believe. But in Gaelic, it's Tua de Danann. And he was like, he signed up to be a messenger for her, to let me know that she was working with me and guiding me and connect. And later I found out she was connected to Kuan Yin, as you and I were talking about before we got online, that they're actually aspects of each other from different cultures, which how would I have known that? It was fascinating. And what she wanted me to do was to go out in the moonlight and use the moonlight to connect with her goddess energy, because she was around during Lemuria, and the moon is holding the karma of that age, of that epoch. And that's when the moon kind of separated from Earth and became our moon, and is now reflecting back to us what our karma from that time period and what we learned, as well as also protecting. The moon is also our protectress. So it was like her way of saying, I'm here for you, to work with you, connect with me using the lunar light. And this being agreed to play that messenger for that. So that was a long story, but that was one of my favorite stories.
Oh, I love it. And I've got to emphasize just how wide open you are and how receptive, and again, how communicative you are. Retreats, books, projects, workshops. Talk to us about where you are on the career stage on all this stuff. Are you regularly doing retreats? Is that just on the horizon more often? Where are you for this?
So I'm going to be super straight up. I was told I would write a book. It has not happened yet. I was told that I would meet a particular individual at a retreat. That has not happened yet. I was also told I would work in England. That has not happened yet. So I still see myself as being very much on the rise. I'm also still earning my pension at my day job, because I freaking earned it. So in a couple years, I'll be able to quit and have that pension as my backup. So that'll be lovely. So in the meantime, this is still a side hustle so that I can earn that well-deserved pension. And so I see that all as coming when I'm no longer having to work my full-time job, and I can go So, so I'm excited about it. I have no idea what the book is going to be about. Not a clue. I just know that there is one in my future, period. And I'm okay. I actually want it to be a surprise. Like I'm excited about it because it's going to be like a present when I'm gifted the I hate the word download. It's so
I
overused,
don't
but
like it either, but I'm
it's
stuck
just
in all the
so
lingo.
overused. But
Yeah.
like, that when when that sort of oh my God. And it's like the stream of consciousness comes in. I'm excited to see what it's going to be about because I doubt very much that it's going to be about your life story of how you came to do this. Nobody gives a crap about how I came to do this. How can I use a book to help other people? So I'm hoping it'll be that as opposed to me talking about myself because I'd rather not talk about myself. But we'll
We'll
see. We'll
wait for
see.
that.
I
We've
don't
already
know.
hit the record button, but stream of inspiration. How about that?
Oh man. Okay. Stream of inspiration. Okay, so what they just said is remember that you are an all powerful being of divine white light, and you are always in control of the choices you make, including your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and perceptions. So don't let yourself give your power away to others as if they made you feel a certain way, as if they hurt you. You chose and you agreed to be hurt because it reflects a wound that you need to look at. So all of those wounds and all of those things that happen to you that feel painful, stop focusing on that you got hurt. Rather look at why you feel hurt. That is the gift and that is the blessing.
Mm.
Holy, holy crap.
Okay, let's talk Esther Hicks. Let's talk Wayne Dyer. Let's talk any other influence.
Esther Hicks I have a story about Esther Hicks.
Okay, what's the story?
Okay, so do you remember how before, or was this on there? Was this before when I was telling you how I came to channel Ian? That whole
That was
weird
off air.
That
Off
was
air.
off air. Dang. Okay, I told you there was.
That's okay.
We're gonna want. So, a part of that and all of those weird things I was telling you about how my breathing would be controlled, and so, and then when I went to meditate, my head moved and all that.
Wait,
So
that was on air. I think we did that on air.
was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the controlled breathing and what happened is this is before he started moving my head. This was in like September maybe I think of 2013. I was to paint the full picture. I was in the bathroom putting on my makeup and I was listening to Esther and Jerry Hicks. It was their album uh Abraham Teaches
Mm.
and or the teachings of Abraham, one of the two of those. And in the beginning, Jerry and Esther talk about how she came to channel Abraham and talking about how she was told to go home and meditate and your guide would be made known to you. And so she talked about how on the third go, she said it was like she said I was being breathed, and then Jerry said yeah, it was like you were in a state of ecstasy. Well, the breathing that Ian would have me do was like it was really heavy breathing, and that was when I went holy. I think I'm channeling. And so that's when I started asking all of the people that I know that are already channelers, and they're like, "Yep, you're channeling a Sarah." Or well, at the time it wasn't referred to as a Seraph. That came later, but you're channeling an archangel, and you're going to do your healing work in England, and which I haven't yet, so we'll see. And this is something you agreed to before you incarnated, and then of course later I find out that he's an ascended Arcturian, and my whole concept of the angelic
Yeah,
realm.
exactly. That always throws the hand grenade into that one.
Yeah, I was like,
By
oh,
the way, your
oh,
mascara or
oh.
you went like this with the mascara or you swallowed the toothpaste at that point in the
Yeah,
bathroom getting ready.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, March of this year is when I started getting the galactic backgrounds for angels. Now, it's just
Yeah.
easier for people to think it's one big ball of light and they're all fantastic. There's not as much hierarchy. That's a big point
Agreed.
we're making before the show. Uh,
Yes.
and yeah, because otherwise there's always thinking we want to hitch our hat to a certain peg. Those
Yeah.
hats are changing colors. Those pegs are moving on the wall. It's like
Yes.
something out of Harry Potter at Hogwarts.
Yes.
So,
And the other thing that I want to
yeah.
hone in with people is those beings are versions of us.
Ooh, and that just changed the whole thing with the pegs, the hats, and then whoa, spin the wheel on it.
Uh-huh.
That's a lot. That is a
Yeah.
lot, and that is so wild. But you have no limits. I'll do it that way. I'll say you have
Yes.
limits. Good luck. It's sort of like gambling in the casino at Casablanca. The movie.
Yeah.
Bogart.
Yes. Well, and then you how shall I say this? You determine I'm not saying it right. Okay, thank you. So you choose the level at which you connect. And so in there is a hierarchy, yes, in terms of frequency and levels of consciousness, but as long as they're of love and light and service to others and have your best interest at heart, you're golden, right? You're
Yeah.
solid.
Yeah.
And you choose the level at which you are able to connect based on where you are in your healing and the hold on, I got to get the words right. Um Okay, thank you. Your predominant frequency, meaning are you more in a frequency of compassion, mercy, grace, and gratitude and humor? Or are you more worried? Are you afraid of what you're going through? Are you stressed out? Blah, blah, blah. Those all determine where you can connect. And it will fluctuate as, you know, so you may have trouble connecting with the seraphim or whoever the heck you want to connect with one day, and then the next day you're like, oh, I feel amazing, and then you can connect with the seraphim. So it's like, allow yourself that fluctuation, but it is you that determines where you connect, and you will then be able to connect with those aspects of you that will look like other beings that have come to give you guidance and support and whatnot.
Hmm.
Oh,
And
sorry.
it's a little bit like the late David Hawkins 1 to 1000 energy scale of people like that. We've had about 6 guests of
Uh-huh.
of the 180 shows tape that refer to that scale. So that's fun. That's a way to sort of grasp it.
It
Uh,
is
Remember,
actually a
it's not
way to
about
look at it.
thinking though. It's about being here and there. You got no limits, but we got to have
Yes.
some sort of a scale.
Ooh, so here's a good way to think about it. Thinking, okay, then I'm not going to do it, but put your hand on your root chakra.
Okay. Yep.
That's being, right?
Yep.
Thinking, being, feeling.
Ooh. Okay.
This is where the Christ is.
Yep.
So when you balance your thoughts in Christ, heart, right? Christ consciousness,
Yep.
and you balance your actions in Christ consciousness, that is the middle way, and that is how you balance. So that's why it's important to come from here.
And I have a random tangent.
Ooh,
The
ooh, I love random
aura
things.
the aura scale. If you go look it up, there's 40,000 interpretations for what red, yellow, green, blue, purple all mean, and everyone's got
Uh-huh,
a different definition. But angels
uh-huh.
one time started to fill out the colors, and Joy, an angel who's Joy, said
Mhm.
red is laughter, and I remember her saying another time, laughter is hope and healing for others. And so, what a beautiful way to look at red as your base chakra. I thought that was
Yes,
great.
yes.
Now, where have you been for sacred sites around the globe? Have you had a chance to go to India yet? Tokyo? Not yet. Hold on, that's around the
No.
corner. Let's do this. Ding, ding, ding.
Physically, no. Astrally,
Yeah.
yes. So
Okay. Let's do a lightning round. I'll put up some energetic photos, angels, others. We'll get some of your crew in here. We'll get something private for you first. You'll say, got it. So we make
okay.
this totally worthwhile for you. It might have to be a compliment or
Uh,
your future, what's coming around the corner, and none of it will spoil when it arrives.
okay.
I'll
Okay.
start with a few of the figures we did before the show. Here's Joy and Angel, who's Joy. High, peppy
Okay.
voice. Here's something private, get a massive compliment. And here, what's coming, how soon.
Ooh, man. Okay.
And then one thing for public consumption.
Oh, public consumption. Okay.
Compliment, compliment, compliment. A little foreshadowing in a high vibe, positive way. And some humor. Yes.
Sorry.
You get a
Okay.
lot of humor.
So the humor was for public consumption, but it's weird. So I'm laughing because that's the feeling that they gave me, but the words that they gave me is "you are enough."
And that's huge. And if we only did one thing today, the you are enough, it's enough.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh. That's big.
Here, here's Charlotte, everybody's favorite school teacher from third form if you're in Canada and New Zealand, third grade in parlance in the US. But the nice one, not the one who got you suspended. If you like ancient Egypt, catch an incense from ancient Egypt that's got like 7 ingredients, only 3 of which you can know. And let us know when you're getting the incense. Jennifer, you didn't know what you signed up for on this show, did you?
Oh, dang.
And what has she got for you? And when
Whew.
you get muscle movement, she explained
I
earlier
know,
in
and
the
she,
show, her
yeah, and
shoulder goes up.
I'm seeing all kinds of lights. That's why I'm like, because I can feel the energy. So that's why my body's moving and my eyes are doing weird things. So it was less words, and it was more a feeling, but it was a feeling of I mean, it was very electric in a good way, hence the shoulders and whatnot. But what it felt to me like sort of infusion. I'll use the word infusion of energy in order to move forward with my, I don't want to say plans, but with my objective to be in service to others. I'll put it that way.
And I heard to move forward with your allowing with a capital A.
Ooh, oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay. But if who how do I do this? Pink or blue, pick a doorway, or you can pick both. If you pick both, it's going bigger and it's even more fun. Do you want pink or
Oh,
blue?
then both.
Both.
You just said bigger and more fun. Duh.
Okay. So one hand on each, palm up, feeling, yep, and breathe. Get as close to the screen as you want and pick up the vibe. But as soon as you want to see pink and blue lights streaming into your hands, if you want to ever peek, you're welcome to, but you'll see it third eye as well. The more you breathe, people at home can touch and feel the pink versus the blue flows. And if anybody wants to play symphony conductor with two of those batons, you can see light streaming off your hand at this, even though I know we've got two different flows, but the point is the brain can't track any of this.
So the blue is working on the throat, and I feel like this is not just me. I feel like this is for everybody. And the pink is working on the high heart, the thymus.
Woo. And if you want to see ruby light now, a little emphasis, a spin off of pink, like you put your red wine glass up to the sun and get that real strong. It's the it's the je ne sais quoi. It's the passion of life itself. Living life is the ruby.
Mm-hmm.
Highest form of living life and enjoyment in the moment. Like having a picnic with the family, that's the greatest picnic in the world.
So Kuan Yin and Ian are grounding that energy through everybody's central channels. Oh God, especially the red energy, and grounding it down into Mother Earth so that you can use that joy as sustenance for safety, a sense of safety and security and support.
Okay, and I'm going to pull back with these
Dang.
guys. Okay, Archangel Michael, just spin the wheel, anything you want, or whatever chef's choice. And what are you getting from Mr. Michael?
So what he just said, what the first words was actually a song from the the soundtrack Hair, and it was "Let the Sun Shine." And what he was referring to is the energy of the sun and what it's doing. Pay attention to the solar cycles and what the activity of the sun, because that is our way of receiving Christ consciousness. But there's something in particular that we need to be paying attention to with regard to the sun. And I hate that word, but I'm going to use it anyway. Upgrades in our energies, and the opportunity for us to use that Christ consciousness energy that comes from the sun to like detoxify ourselves, both physically, emotionally, mentally, and just our energetic field. So pay attention to what you're eating, thinking. Watch what you are watching on TV. Pay attention to what you're like engaging in. Sorry, my mascara is doing something weird, it's driving me crazy. Because it's sort of like we're going to go through like a detox-ish of energy, but also like then that energy is going to be replaced with this infusion from the sun. So people need to just make really healthful choices with everything that they consume in all ways.
Okay.
Sorry.
4 archangels: Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel. I call them rainbow pie slices. And I'll buy a little bit of time. Uriel once said, if more people would listen, less conflict would result in any given situation. If more people would listen, less conflict would result in any given situation. I love that quote.
So the message that they just gave me is, okay, all right, is, and this is one that I've gotten a number of times, but I feel like they want me to use this platform as an opportunity to how should I say this, to re-deliver this message. But pay attention to where you are being, not coaxed. You pick a different word.
Focused?
No, hold on. I'm asking them to give me a different word. Like pushed in, coaxed. Oh, coaxed. Yes, thank you. Coaxed into participating in division and divisive behavior, where you are attaching to a side of something, and then the opposite side is bad, wrong, evil, the wrongdoer. And pay attention to where you allow that attachment to a side and a perspective to be so deeply embedded in your identity that if someone has a different perspective or a different opinion, then you are offended because it's like a personal attack as opposed to them just being different. But there is going to be a continued greater push for division. So we have to be very careful about participating in that and contributing to those energies. We're also going to see a greater degree of people existing in different realities. So there's what we're experiencing is what's called the bifurcation of worlds, or the two world split. The Hopis have discussed this. The Anthroposophists and Rosicrucians have discussed this, but we're in it now. And so we'll hear people have like their truths and their facts that back it up, and then other people living in this alternate reality going, y'all are nuts because there's no facts that back that up. In fact, here's the truth, and here are these facts that back this up. And what's nuts is both of those are true and real, but it depends on the reality in which you exist. And we're still, engaging with these people. And so it will only perpetuate that sense of division and divisiveness. So allow for other people to feel insanely different, meaning, how could you possibly believe that or think that or whatever? That's only going to get more stark. So just know that going forward, and don't buy into you're wrong, I'm right because of my reality. Okay, the end. Sorry.
I love it. And so dad jokes, though, if you can laugh at a dad joke, you know you're in your heart.
Well, I've done that how many times now?
I've done a few. Yeah, a few. I will do one in a second. Here's Heather. She makes hearts in her photos. Even in her name, Heather is the word heart rearranged with a few extra letters. She's compassion, compassion, compassion. And you can see angels in human form. You don't have to listen to me. Just put it to the universe and be like, I could use a pop in as you're running to the dry cleaners, the cell phone shop, the restaurant. Perfectly sparkly eyed stranger saying just what you needed to hear. Get a hug, grab them for a whole hour conversation. Time will fly. And this is a good time to remind everybody to subscribe, like, share, and definitely comment. Emojis count. 5 emojis or more and you're good. You don't have to put any words. We have almost a 500,000, what do you call it, channel views. We have a super shy crowd. And then sometimes people do say, I smell the flowers. I smell the sage. I just saw a ball light go by. Blah, blah, blah. Do it. Just have fun.
I will also say, with regard to Heather and that message about meeting a physical angel, the other thing that I got was to also, I'm going to say the word I like to use, but they were like, pay attention to those more subtle signs, because it depends on your channels that are open and the likelihood of your ability to believe that they can appear physically, as well as whether or not they can densify, because some angels are so high vibrational they cannot become a physical being. It's just too hard to go from such a high frequency to a physical thing. So pay attention to the more subtle opportunities to engage with an angel, like angel tingles. So when you get the feeling around the head or the shoulders, that buzzing and tingling. If you sometimes it sounds like a voice in your head, sometimes you get a song on the radio, sometimes another stranger, and I've played this role numerous times, another stranger is guided to go talk to you and say whatever it is the angel needs for you to know. So there are myriads of ways that you can engage with angels. You just have to be open to all the myriads of ways that they can choose to come to you. Smells, birds, butterflies, moths, you name it. They've got dreams. They've got all kinds of ways of coming to you.
Okay. You get a call tomorrow from not the Monroe Institute, but one of those other institutes out there, and they say, we've got a check. We're writing it. You can do a retreat anywhere in the globe. And if you don't like big crowds, they'll break it out into subgroups of 20. Oh. But they are like, we want you to do 800 people. We're going to take care of the audience for you. What are your top 3 geographical spots? You're banned from Michigan. And you can't do, it has to be like West Coast of the US, Hawaii, but you got to pick abroad really for these choices. You're almost getting kicked out of the USA. You're fun.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, you got assistance. who are going to handle the details. What are the 3, 4, or 5 geographical locales that you're like, yeah, I'll do it?
Okay, so Glastonbury and like Stonehenge, because Stonehenge, right? Because Stonehenge, duh, right?
Yeah.
Um, sorry, Egypt, because
Ooh.
Giza and the pyramids, Atlantis, duh, right? Um, yeah, and the third one,
Third,
ugh,
fourth, and fifth. We're going to keep
third,
going
fourth,
because you're picking
oh
good places.
man.
Yeah.
India, so gosh, somewhere in India, and I
Jungle, tropical, like temple,
eh, yeah, yeah.
mountains. Yeah.
Sure, I don't know. I just know India because I have a past life, at least one past life in India, so I resonate very strongly with India. Um, Golly, Scotland, because so Ian calls himself Ian as a nod to my Scottish heritage, because angels don't have names. They have to give themselves names, or we give them to them. Oh God. There's so many places. Bora Bora, because it's Bora Bora. I've never been there
Not
though.
boring.
It's right. Have you seen it? Are you kidding? Ooh, Santorini, Greece, 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 Greece.
I like it. Okay, you're getting an Indian figure because you just mentioned India. You're getting 2. You're getting Sri Shirdi Sai Baba colorized version, the one who passed away. I'm going to make it up, like 1919, 1920.
Yeah, I know the one you're referring to.
Yeah, total Mr. Miracle's tight with angels. He'll move in the photo though. Wink, ears will move. Let the photo move. Say when you got it. Catch
Actually, a head nod. I got a head nod.
and then catch the temple incense in the air. Hear a tiger roar in the distance. It'll be the Divine Mother's tiger that she rides on the deity like figure. Let me know when you hear the roar. You'll meet him next.
I heard I've already heard
Yay.
it.
And then something really private for you about the path you're on. See the book cover flashed by Ian, Joy, and a few other angels. It will not ruin anything or influence you in any way. It's just a really cool nighttime bedstand type book that people will look at forever, but they'll still leaf through it once in a while and feel like they're doing the reading.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Okay. And then the tiger, this one's gonna, whatever part of the open room you've got, you can, like, you own a giant wolfhound that's 300 pounds, a friendly dog. But this is a shampooed fur tiger. The jaguar is like wiry, metally, like short fur. He's still awesome. The jaguar is awesome. But this tiger is the Divine Mother's tiger, pure action on everyone's team.
Gee whiz. Okay.
Feel the solar flare of love, action, and the nuzzle. If you want to get a size of a kitten, a little lick of the tongue. We don't want you to have to go off camera and clean up. And then hand out into the room. You can feel the soft fur, like he's walking by. And then he's got a reminder about being in the heart, how all the action's in the heart. Oh my God. Okay, what'd you get? What'd you get?
It was sort of a feeling of, how do I want to put this? It felt like this, like because the feeling was like, perfectly well that you have the value and the worth to do everything you're supposed to do, like a mother, right? Like a mother. That's the feeling I got. But the words were, that you have that, like, you don't need to worry about it. That was what it was.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna do one last kind of groovy, cool thing. 2 things. 10 seconds for auras, energy. I'll show you mine. You don't have to show you yours. I'll use this as a background. Blue sky is number 1, but really anything works. If you're cocky, the Peloton bike could have an aura on it, or plants or your dog going by. My dogs are locked up so they don't bark at a UPS truck. Here we go. I'll just put my fingers up. It'll be Celestine Prophecy style, but as a guest put it, who was around in the 70s, she said, hey, man, we were doing this before the movie Celestine Prophecy this way. And in India, they do it this way. You'll see a stream of light between my fingers. What your opportunity for growth is, should you accept, is ask for a heart, a parakeet, of something extra that's not my energy. It's angels, your crew, jacking it a little so you get extra light for the fun of it. And I'm still going to tell another dad joke. Did I tell the Starbucks one already?
Yeah, you did.
I blew that anyhow by telling the pun. It's so bad. Okay, but I got another one for you.
Okay.
Where in a hospital is the worst place to play hide and seek? The audience hasn't heard this. You have, but that's okay. in the ICU. See a little bit of light, a stream of
I
light
do.
between my fingers. What color do you see?
Yeah, it's like moonlight blue. It's like ice blue.
Now I'm going to do Yoda's voice and totally crack you up. And as you do, get extra light coming off the light that's made. Is it butterfly? Is it joy making a hummingbird? Do not. There is no try.
I saw a peacock.
I did not do it, and that was under a minute. I think we did good. One last holy moly thing. Highest intent, love and above. My hand, your hand, but again, not your bill paying side, not my bill paying side. We're gonna blame angels. It's these guys. Okay, feel what you can feel. Just tell me what you feel, and then I'm gonna whoosh you rainbow light 3 times, low, medium, and high. And again, it's gonna be the crew doing the whooshing. First, what do you feel? Do you feel sparkle? Do you feel a little vibe? And
Yeah, there's a buzzing and tingling right here in the. It's like a circle on my hand.
okay. And my microphone's above the laptop. I'm going to blow some Hawaii your way. You can maybe get sea spritz on your nose. Here comes the first one. I'm whooshing with my free hand like it's a ping pong paddle. Here we go. Catch a little Hawaii in the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I even got pushed back.
Aw. The second one, we're going medium. If you let's put the book, the retreats out there, unbelievable abundance, positivity is abundance, but you got all that already. Here we go. I'm blowing again. It goes a little bigger up the scale.
Mm-hmm. That actually felt like heat. That felt warm to me.
Okay, and the third one's go big, go home. You're clearly home, so you have to go big. You got no choice on this. Here it goes, and it's rainbow light galore. So get your chakras whooshed, your Kundalini Express. You know, go Autobahn. They're going 200 kilometers an hour, and no cop can stop them. Go.
Woo. The heart energy, right? They were like cupping my heart chakra. Yeah, and this, like these fingers, that's Kuan Yin, and they were like receiving it. How should I say this? They were having me receive it into my heart by putting my hand here, because they were. I don't know if the audience heard this bit, but they work through my physical body by coming into the back of my heart. Yeah, they're back in the back of my heart, and they move my body to do all the weird things that we do.
You're coming back on the show as often as you want. It'll probably be spaced out to a minimum of 3 months. So you've automatically, we're going to see you in August of 2025. I don't know when we're starting, November of 2024. Tell us, I'm going to give you like 10 or 12 doorways. You can pick anything you want. You can wrap up the show if you want after that, or you can keep going with some of these words. These are classic words that should spark vibration from you. Accepting, acknowledging, attention, allowing, attitude, awareness, abundance, angels, compassion, gratitude, allowing all, or opening openness. What do you want to run with?
Holy crap, that's a lot of choices.
I'll do a couple more.
Allowing.
Do it. Let's hear allowing.
Sorry, because they were doing weird things with my eyes, my mascara is like going, and we're done. Okay, so I have to connect and have them start giving me my sort of stream of consciousness. Yes, okay, thank you. So what they want people to know is that it's important to not hold attachment to outcome. And this is where being in your heart comes from. That's what being in the middle way is. You're not overthinking. You're not trying to force things to happen by doing things, right? It's staying in your heart, staying in a state of allowance. Because when you're in a state of allowance, you're not attached to hope and desire, which is the future, or a fear of something that might not happen, and you're trying to like steer the bull, right? Because what happens when you grab the bull by the horns, the bull goes, digs in its hooves and says, I'm not moving until you let go, and then let the bull take you, right? So be in that state of allowance, faith, trust, and that sense of safety, security, and support that the universe has your back. If there is any part of you that is afraid that the universe is not going to give you what you want, it's not about what you want, it's about what is for your highest and best good. So let go of having a preference of experience, right? That is allowing, is letting go of a preference of experience. All experiences are blessings. So that is being in a state of allowance.
Wow, that was awesome. Okay, I got 2 angels for you because you mentioned faith and hope, and those are 2 angels. Faith is a yellow light if you close your eyes. Hope's peach colored. Have them come in. They'll give you the last little bit and your crew and however you want to roll. And breathe, breathe, breathe at home. If you want to see faith, yellowish light on your eyelids, geometric patterns if you want, go crazy. Peach for hope, if I didn't say it the right way. Faith is yellow.
So I know that we've already touched on this. Sorry, my mascara is like, you're super done. They can't work through me and not scrunch my eyes up. But anyway, whatever. I've not found a mascara that's impervious to this. So the message that I got from Faith and Hope is something that I've touched on, or they've touched on really, because I was channeling at the time, about being an all-powerful being of divine white light, and remember that you are in control of your energy. But it's also remembering that, how shall I say this? Um, Remembering that you are in control of your, how should I say this, your experience, but you've also got subconscious mind energy that is helping to manifest. So that's why you get this feeling of, I didn't manifest that. Well, you did, but you did it subconsciously. But it's having the faith and having the hope, and hope is a hard one because it's placing it creates the, how should I say this, you want to be mindful of hope feeling like a need. You don't want hope to be a need. It's more like, hope is more like, I know and trust that everything is going to work out in my best interest and in divine order. But that includes when you manifest things that are non-preferred, that are reflections of your subconscious and childhood wounding. But you are always an all-powerful being of divine white light expressing itself individually. And so you've always got this. You've always got this. You just have to tap into that aspect of you, go within into that aspect of you where God is, where your Christ consciousness is, where those ascended angelic aspects of you are, to communicate. And that's where they can give you that reminder that you're never alone. You are an all powerful individuation of source, and everything is always in divine order, even when it feels like it's not.
Lovely. We're ending the show with that one because it was so good. I'm not even going to try to do an extra quote at the end here, but I will try to give one dad joke only because I've never closed a show out with a dad joke. Here it is. Why did the rabbit fall down that well? He didn't see that well. Jennifer, you've been fantastic. Thank you for being on Angels, Positivity, and Love.
Thank you so much for having me.
What's one final mantra that could fit on a t-shirt? What would you want to leave us with as the shortest and sweetest reminder?
Ooh, I see and honor my value.
Ooh. Nice. Nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.